Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 10WT Friday, where every single week we teach you how to form the healthy habits that will transform your body and your life. At the 10-Week Transformation, we teach you a 5-step framework. We help you initially build your big, which is your why behind your fitness. Number 2, we help you set your success indicator, which is where you want to be by a particular date. And 3, we help you identify your progress indicators. These are your 2 to 3 weekly goals that will inevitably indicate to you that you're making progress on your overall goal. Number 4, we help you plan your pills. And these are the micro habits that will increase the likelihood that you're successful on a week-to-week basis amidst the busyness of your life. And number 5, we help you set up your scoreboard, which gives you the feeling of game on. If you implement these 5 steps, your habits are going to be rock solid, your self-confidence is going to grow, and you'll be on the path to your best you. Every single week, we help individuals who are hungry for growth optimize their potential and get closer to the best version of themselves. I'm your host, Nick Carrier, and today I'm super excited to talk about how to take risks. Today, I'm really excited to talk about this topic of how to take risks. Now, it might be a little bit different than a traditional 10WT Friday in the sense that we're not going to necessarily talk too much about fitness or talk too much about nutrition. We'll talk a little bit about goal setting, but I really think this topic of taking risks is so important no matter what goal that you are working towards, because no matter what, working towards a goal kind of assumes that you're going to be taking on a little bit of risk. And I think it's really important to know how to do it appropriately. And so I want to kind of take you back to the end of 2019. I had finished reading a book called The 4 Disciplines of Execution by Chris McChesney by a company called Franklin Covey. And I was mind blown. I was like, oh my gosh, this system is amazing. This system is applicable to any kind of goal. And so I took what I learned from The 4 Disciplines of Execution and reworked it so that we could apply it to a health and fitness goal, and ran the first ever 10-week, I called it a 10-week program back then. Now it's a 10-week transformation, but I called it a 10-week program back in January of 2020. But before I even did that, literally before I did my first 10-week program, before I took this risk, what did I do? I had the 7 people who signed up for this thing read a book. I literally had all 7 people read the 4 Disciplines of Execution because that, in my head, I didn't know a better way to have them learn this process. I want to make sure you're hearing me right. I had people, before starting a fitness program, I had them read a book because I just didn't know what else to do. And not even that, after I had them read the book, I had them all over to my house. I had them in my living room. I had a PowerPoint slide and an HDMI cord connected to my TV. And I took them through the PowerPoint slide that I made based off of the book and how we're going to re-implement that stuff to their health and fitness goals. And we talked about their goals. So I had 7 people read a book, then come over to my house and go through a PowerPoint with me. Point is I did not know the best way to get this thing going. I just knew I needed to start. And so the first step in taking a risk is idea plus courage equals action. So if you have an idea, it's great, but without courage, then you're never going to step into action. And so you got to make sure that we can have a really solid idea and we know what that idea is. And then we have courage either from mustering it up within or having encouragement from others to get us to take action. So that's step 1 into taking a risk in the appropriate way. And then when I started this group of 7 people, I really knew that I had a longer term vision for this thing. And I really believed that this thing was going to be really impactful and powerful to get people closer to their health and fitness goals, get them feeling the way they want to feel, looking the way they want to look, getting stronger. And so I just had a high level of belief in the vision that I had for this 10-week program. But I had to make sure that I was patient because I had 7 people in this first thing and I did not have very much money. The very first 10-week program, I charged people $399 to participate. They met me 2 times a week, $399, and it was 7 people, so it's not that much money, and I had to pay other things to be able to run it, and so not very much money. But I knew that I had to just continue to work this thing out and figure out the best way to run it, and I continued to get a little bit better each 10-week program that I did. And to give you a little insight, in the January 2020 10-week program, and week 8 is when COVID hit. So we had to shut it down. And then I did it a little bit virtually, but then when we opened back up, we came back to Nashville and ran programs, and it continued to grow. And basically almost every single 10-week program that we did, we grew in numbers. And we grew in numbers, not a ton, but a little bit. We grew in numbers a little bit. And I continued to make the process of the 10 weeks more optimal. And so the second step in taking a risk appropriately is patience plus belief equals consistency. Because you're not going to be consistent if you don't believe in what it is that you're doing. And you're not going to be consistent if you don't have patience. You have to be patient with the results. You have to believe in the results that you have the potential to get, and you have to stay consistent. So action and consistency is massive when it comes to taking a risk in the appropriate manner so that it ends up turning out for the best. And then after that, I had to really ensure that every single change that I made to this program was intentional. I had to make sure every single thing that I did was intentional. And the other thing that I can give you insight on is I started this program actually intentional. I was planning on doing it in one gym where I used to coach at, but then a few weeks before it starting, I wasn't able to coach it in that gym anymore, and I had to shift gyms. And then I was in that gym for a little bit, and then that gym moved, so I moved along with that gym. And then I wanted to add another time slot, so I had to find a different gym. And then I wanted to add another time slot, so I had to find a different gym. And the availability and the time on the calendar was limited by my schedule and limited by the schedule of the gym and limited by what people would actually like to, when other people would like to participate in this thing. And so there were so many different obstacles and so many different things that we've had to work through over the years. And that's why the third part to taking a risk appropriately, the third formula, I should say, is intentionality plus persistence equals results. If you're just persistent, but you're not that intentional with what you're doing, then the results are going to reflect that and not be as great as they could be. If you're just intentional and not persistent, then the results won't come as quickly as they potentially could. But if you can match intentionality and persistence, then the results will follow. So again, if we can take action, we can be consistent with that action, then the results are going to follow. But the whole thing when it comes to taking risks, like I hope you remember what I said. I had 7 people read a book before starting a fitness program. I had 7 people read a book before starting a fitness program. But the idea was that I didn't need to know the best way to start, but I had to start in order to find out the best way. I didn't know the best way to start, but I needed to start in order to find out the best way. Because so many of us think we need all of the answers before jumping into a risk or before going into uncharted territory or uncharted waters. But the reality of the situation is you're not going to know how to navigate and move the boat until you're in those uncharted waters, until you're in the rocky seas. You have to get going. And then you have to have the persistence and the consistency and the belief that what you're doing is worthwhile and it's going to make a difference and it's going to grow into something for you to be able to make that risk and turn it into a positive thing. So it's this formula of action, consistency that provides you with the results. If you can have idea and courage, if you can have patience and belief, if you can have intentionality and persistence, those things will come to fruition. The way I want to finish off today is 2 of my biggest takeaways when it comes to people getting results with the 10-week transformation. We've now had 356 people participate in it. The first time we had 7 participants. This last starting time, we've had 54 people join. So I'm just super proud and humbled to be able to say that 54 people are now currently doing it. And that's just in person. And we have more virtually at the current moment. But my 2 biggest takeaways from people who are most successful during the 10 weeks versus people who are just somewhat successful during the 10 weeks. And it's 2 things. Number 1, the frequency with which you engage your scoreboard will be directly correlated to the amount of success that you realize. Otherwise said, the amount of success that you're going to realize with your goal will be directly correlated to the frequency with which you engage your scoreboard. Whatever goal that you're working towards, you got to have a scoreboard and you got to engage with it frequently. You got to look at it frequently. You got to update it frequently. That'll keep you motivated both with your progress, and it will provide you with the urgency and the reminder that you have to do this. The second biggest takeaway from people who are most successful with the 10-week transformation compared to people who are not is they're process-focused rather than outcome-focused. Yes, it's a 10-week timelined program, but they're not as concerned with getting to a certain endpoint by the 10 weeks. They know it's more about building habits. They know it's more about building habits that will last them 10 weeks and beyond. So if we can engage with our scoreboard more frequently and we can be process-focused rather than outcome-focused, that's what's going to lead to maximal results. I hope you guys got something out of today. I know it's a little bit different, not specifically fitness, not specifically nutrition, but I think all of us can benefit so much from taking risks appropriately by merging together idea and courage so that we take action, by merging together patience and belief so we can get consistency, and by marrying together intentionality and persistence so that we can get results. That is a formula for taking a risk and then making sure that you take it to the fullest and so you get the most positive result possible. Now, if you're interested in chasing down your fitness goals, or you want to lose weight, or you want to build a little bit of muscle, make sure you hop on a free call with me. I would love to hop on and discuss, okay, you want to lose 10 pounds? Let's talk about your eating habits right now. Let's talk about your fitness habits, and let's talk about how we can transition those or upgrade those or optimize those so that you can lose that particular amount of weight. And I'm not looking for that you have to do the 10-week transformation. I just want to help you get to whatever your goal is. So if you want to do a free call with me, go to nickcarrier.com/free call today. Again, nickcarrier.com/free call. We'll hop on a Zoom for 15 to 30 minutes and we'll chat it out, and I'll make sure you walk away from that call with a plan that will inevitably make you progress to whatever your goal is. So go to nickcarrier.com/free call, and I'm looking forward to chatting. Other than that, I hope today helps you get closer to your health and fitness goals, and ultimately helps you get closer and closer to your best you.